Okay, at first you're like, nah, dude, this shit ain't for me. I don't do that shit. And a weekend you're like, woo! I fucking love this shit. So I've been taking cold showers for, it's been 2 years now. Today is my 723rd day of cold showers. And I wanted to, I guess, do a little bit of a reflection on it. The key things that I've learned from my cold shower journey. Um, so let's start from the beginning, I guess. I haven't really structured this, so I'm just gonna wing it. Um, the first, well, I got started with cold showers for the reason of wanting to be more productive. I was really into the productivity circle on YouTube, hustle, self help, productivity, that type of stuff. And I was trying to figure out, like, how could I improve myself? How could I make myself better? How could I make myself more productive? And the trend at the time was the cold showers, right? You remember everyone doing I took cold showers for 30 days, those challenges and type of stuff. But I took on the cold showers, and for the first month, month or two, it was quite incredible. I'd step in, turn on the cold shower, and the water blasting on your head. I remember for the first month or two, I couldn't keep the water blasting on my head for more than, like, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds, because my head would start, like, freezing up. It literally felt like a brain freeze, a literal brain freeze. Um, and then I'd have to take it off. But during that period, that initial period, every time I'd step out of the cold shower, I'd feel amazing. Like, I wanted to yell at the top of my lungs and scream to the world how hype I was. All the endorphins, the adrenaline, all that stuff rushing through my body. It felt amazing. It really, it felt like I'd conquered the day before the day had even started. But then that feeling gave even more ambition to conquer the day. Um, and yeah, for the first, I would say, 2 to 3 months, it was an amazing thing. I think the best analogy I have for cold showers, especially when you just begin taking them, is Tuco from Breaking Bad.
Ah, tight, 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 yeah.
Like, I'm not even kidding you. Taking a cold shower is literally like.
I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed.
So imagine feeling that good the first thing in the morning. A cold shower first thing in the morning makes me motivated to start my day. Like, I can't wait. It just unleashes so much energy that I feel like I have to get shit started. It makes me a lot more decisive, like boom, 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 and confident with every step I take throughout the morning. And I usually like to channel this energy towards my workout in the morning. And cold showers are honestly a great way to get you motivated to go to the gym if that's something you've been struggling with. Now, obviously, this energy dies down as the morning continues, but starting your day off with so much energy impacts my whole day because of the way I've felt it affect my energy baseline throughout the whole day. So, in a nutshell, they're literally like a hit of cocaine the first thing in the day. okay, at first you're like, nah, dude, this shit ain't for me. I don't do that shit. A weekend you're like, woo, I fucking love this shit. Even though you're still an amateur starting a pea size line, 2 months in, you're really starting to get in the groove of it, and now you're starting like fucking a 6 inch line, and then 6 months in, you're you know. But my point is that once you establish a baseline, it's like tolerance for weed or alcohol or whatever drug. You need your fix, and then your fix just keeps on increasing. But this fix is a good fix because it's good for you. And so with cold showers, it's almost like the same with exercise in that you're adapting to increasing stimuli, just like progressive overload. But gradually over time, the effects started to dwindle down to sort of like a baseline where it just felt like cold showers were something normal. Whereas when I started, it felt like this it had this novelty effect, and therefore conferred all these benefits and feelings. But then as I got used to it, it sort of just felt normal, like it was just something normal that I did, um, and it felt like it. Like I'm not saying that the benefits no longer were there, but it just felt like they they sort of they stopped being visible. Um, it's like they started becoming in the background rather than in the foreground. And then, but over 2 years of this, I am still taking cold showers, but I think perhaps the biggest takeaway um, from this journey is that there really is no secret method or habit or technique or trick or theory to make you the person you want to be. There is no secret method. Um, because I realized that with so many of these methods, whether that's like waking up early or like trying to journal every day or trying to meditate every day or taking cold showers, it's that if you aren't careful about it, you become way too attached to the practice. And so it almost becomes like your religion. And so when you don't please God, then you feel like you've sinned. And I actually think that's the perfect analogy because that's actually what it is. Um, it's this. I realized that from my this self help phase, this productivity craze, that I was becoming too attached to these practices, and you can think of them as religious ritual, because it gave me a sense of comfort, even though it's uncomfortable. It gave me comfort in the way that it made me feel like I was progressing in life. It made me feel like I was being productive and accomplishing things. And so you see, when you start basing your worth on the amount that you accomplish, inevitably you're going to want to accomplish more and more. And then when you accomplish that, you're going to want to do more and then more. And so you have two choices. Either somewhere along the way you find out that this is a never-ending hamster wheel that only gets faster and faster, and you're going to have to run harder and harder. Either you realize that and you take a pause for a second, or you just keep going. And you think about how many people just keep going. They go endlessly without ever having paused. And with cold showers, they made me realize that I can't become dependent on them. And I can't become dependent on any productivity hack or method or, whatever it is. Doesn't have to be productivity, but anything. Once you become dependent on something, then your self-worth starts to become based upon it. And it took me going through this experience along with many other habits at once to realize that all of these things, tricks, tips, methods, practices that we do in the name of, productivity or self-improvement, all of these they're really just a way to try to get away from ourselves, because they give the illusion that you're being productive. They give the image of productivity. And when you're in a phase where you have very poor self-worth, that's what you'll cling to, because you want to be the version of you that is productive, or at least appears to be productive. But the mistake is in becoming so attached to these practices that they define your productivity and they define you. And so I'm still taking cold showers because it's become normal for me. It's become easy. I don't really have resistance in taking it. But I wanted to draw this parallel of how you should let these methods and habits, yada yada, you should let them guide you to what your soul really wants. And if after a long period of trying something still feels really unnatural and it feels like hard work, then you shouldn't continue with it, because the voice inside your head is telling you, I don't want to do this. And you think, oh, well, that's the demon, that's the lower self. But you have to realize that who is it that wanted you to start it in the first place? Was it your higher self or your lower self? It was your lower self. If you already had your higher self intact, then why would you need to start a practice to prove something to yourself? So you're just playing tricks on yourself, thinking that if you adopt a new practice that it'll make you happier, it'll make your life better. But I guess I just want to convey that I'm not condemning anything. Rather, I'm trying to say that whatever thing that you take up, it's quite natural initially that we take up all of these different things for the purpose of attaining an outcome other than the thing itself. But if after a while you don't almost like fall in love with the practice, and you're still so focused on some outward outcome, then I don't think you should be doing. I don't think you should continue to be doing the practice that you're doing. Because when you do something, say for example, cold showers or, weightlifting, if you're doing them to try to attain an outcome, I think that corrupts your motivation. Because your goal really should be to fall in love with the practice. And the outcome will come as a byproduct. It's the same thing with work. People work. They hate their work. And why do they work? For the outcome of money. That's purely it. You think of 90%, 95% of the world's population. They work not because they enjoy it, but because money. And you think like, wow, like this is what it means to be, this is the norm? And you really question that. And you ask yourself, do I accept this as the norm? Or is this insanity to me? And I have come to see in myself that I think it's insanity. And so I've started to apply this same principle to all different areas of my life. It's this: if I don't enjoy it, then why am I doing it? So I can become a better version of myself, so I can improve myself, so I can become richer, so I can, it's all bullshit. If the thing that you're doing is what's causing all the suffering and all the hate and all the groaning and all the dissatisfaction, then what makes you think the outcome of happiness or of wealth, what makes you think that's what's in store for you? Whereas if you find out, or rather come back to, what you've always been attracted to, what speaks to you naturally, and you go after it, no matter how stupid it may seem. It might be collecting Funko Pops or, cards. Like, I think collecting cards is stupid as fuck, but like, I mean, people are hype about it, so like, I'm not. You love what you love. And so really, I think the secret to a lot of life is just to align yourself to the things that come naturally to you, to the things that don't feel effortful. And when you spend the majority of your time in a state of enjoyment, and that's when flow happens, then you're going to be living a life that is fulfilling. Rather than follow the 95% of people who live a miserable life, and it's under their own will, because they haven't asked themselves why they do any of the things that they do. Or rather, they have, but they don't realize that they are too attached to the outcome, and they don't value the practice. But it's in the practice where all the magic and all the joy happens. And so I guess you could say, in a way, that I've fallen in love with cold showers in in the same way as, I don't know, like exercise or food. It's just, it feels like it's something that's natural to me, and that the benefits are a byproduct of my love and appreciation for them. And so find out what makes you tick and fall in love with the practice. Hope you enjoyed that ramble. It was a quite weird zigzaggy one, but hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.